Hey y'all, this is Jeremiah, pastor at Centennial ARP. Thanks for tuning in. Today we find ourselves in John chapter 1, verse 14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. Jesus is fully God and fully man. We see that here in this Bible verse, marked by the capital W word that was and that is to come, that was at the beginning, that created all things. This word has clothed himself with flesh. The God-man, Jesus himself, now born into the scenery of humanity. And this Jesus is coming and revealing God in the most beautiful and the fullest way possible. This Jesus, then, as he is doing all of these things we see in this Bible verse, is full of grace and truth. I had a seminary professor who, at the start of every semester that I had him for, would use this Bible verse, this chapter and verse, as his opening devotion. And he would, after explaining what I just explained, which is the fullness of the gospel revealed, that God would send his own Son, that this Son would willingly go, that he would clothe himself with flesh, and that he would live a perfect life, die a sacrificial death, on our behalf for those that would believe in him. After that, after he would reveal these things, he would, by way of application, ask this: which side of the horse do you fall off on, grace or truth? Jesus is able to ride the horse perfectly. He is full of both grace and truth because he is perfect. But which side do you fall off on? And he is a history professor and would usually make application in history to different Christian movements where at times we can fall off on the grace side and forget that God has revealed his character and his will, and that means something for our lives as we believe and follow after the Lord. On the opposite side is truth. As we fall off on this side of truth, we can forget that God has revealed himself in his character and his will, and that there is mercy and grace to be seen and to be held there. In reality, that God himself has saved his people, that they cannot save themselves, and to fall off on truth alone and to forget the grace and the reality of such things is to forget the gospel of salvation. Which side do you fall off on today? Are you a grace side? Are you a truth side? Maybe depends on the situation, but it is a wonderful Bible verse to consider and to pray through and to think through as we are trying to live our lives in light of the God who saves, of the God who would send his Son, of the Son who would willingly go, of the Holy Spirit who would willingly be sent to work a work in our hearts. This God is revealing that perfection, that fullness of grace and truth, and yet we fall short of the mark. We are sinners saved by God. Do you fall off on the truth side? Do you fall off on the grace side? When? Why? Consider these things today. Apply it to your lives and glorify the Lord with me.